Hi Mum! You do everything for everyone else. Let me help you make your life easier. Quick, short information to make you empowered and remind you why you are so important. Because if you don't know what's on the menu, how can you choose what's right for you? Hi, I'm Alina, Director of my private practice Supportive Therapy, an everyday Aussie mum trying not to lose my biscuits and my kids. As a mental health professional, I'm here to share my secrets so no other mother feels alone or powerless. Knowledge is power, and I want you to be powerful. Think of it like I'm your mindset coach through all of this. Everything is backed by science and psychology.
Hello everyone,
I believe
thank
in
you so much for joining
and I want
today.
you to be the best version of yourself. To be happy and to feel in control,
a bit of a topic.
You need to be
which
mentally strong.
obviously needs a bit of a trigger warning. It needs to, if this is going to be uncomfortable for you or upsetting, perhaps that even at the end of after listening to this, if you choose to listen to it, understand how to support yourself and what you actually need to be regulated, again, if this is upsetting in any way for anyone. And all of this information, obviously, that I use or I'm trying to explain to everyone is really from a place of love and support. So if you yourself feel like this is going to be triggering the topics of suicide, taking your own life, or even attempting to taking your own life, I need you to know that everything's going to be okay, and realizing different ways how we can support you so you don't feel so alone, especially with all this information. And all of this information is just information, okay? Obviously, I recommend that everyone see a therapist or a counselor or someone, even a holistic something, anything, when you don't feel 100, when you don't feel like yourself, or even if you're just going through a really bit of a hard time. Okay, there's a lot of different resources out there which are for free online, or even people that you just really need to connect with. So obviously I'm trying to go above and beyond in over exaggerating that we're not going to be going too hardcore into this topic, but we are going to be talking about it. So please just be very, very mindful about your body, about your reactions when I start to talk of things. Where does your mind go? Where are your thoughts? Are you instantly triggered? There is a thing called neuroception, Neuro, neurological, and then ception, Ception, so perception. So when we talk about things that are really quite triggering and upsetting, before I've even started talking about them, neurologically you have a response and you're triggered before you have conscious thoughts or awareness of your own body. So with all of this process and learning with me about what you actually need to feel safe, education about how to support yourself, and understanding about how to support others. And this is this thing about people who have attempted or completed to be able to take their own lives. It's really difficult, and it's a really delicate, sensitive subject. So everything I'm saying is, well, I don't want to upset or offend. This isn't meant to be hurtful or harmful in any way. This hopefully can help me normalize this topic so that people who feel this way or have thoughts of this, which are very common for a lot of people, I've been there, okay, several times in my life, through different situations. I want to be able to talk about it, and I want to normalize it, and I want people, when they are approached with this subject, how to actually sit with that instead of accidentally pushing it away because it's not happy, you know. Things in life, sometimes not everything can be happy and rainbows, and obviously as mothers we know that, okay? So how can we understand ourselves to be part of this conversation, and especially if we do have children who are at a certain age, who do have a lot of pressures, who do experience certain social situations, if this is raised by our own children or even our own partner or even ourselves, how to actually be present and understanding that sometimes when they leave, suicide doesn't take the pain away. it passes it on to someone else. So all of this is just for love and care and to normalize everything, okay? So we're going to get into it now. If you're already freaked out with my little introduction and you're not ready for this yet, then don't do it, okay? I used to work for Lifeline as a telephone crisis counsellor. So I would work once a week. You would actually volunteer, and I would be in lots of phone conversations with a lot of different people, and this was always the content. So I'm very, very happy and comfortable to sit in people's pain, to kind of help someone understand what it's like to be them in that situation, and then find reasons for living and reasons for hope. And what's interesting is we all have different perceptions, and sometimes people always trying to give their opinion or their perception on my life and what I'm going through, or even that toxic positivity or dismissing me, is really invalidating. So it makes me shut down harder. I'm not going to tell anyone, like, why would I? So understanding I've had years of experience of this, I understand what it's like, lived experience, friends who have completed suicide, working with Lifeline as a telephone crisis counsellor with people. So it's something beautiful. I know it's sad, but it's something beautiful that as a part of the human condition, the highs are the highs and the lows are the lows. And what we all really honestly and truly need is connection for other people and understanding how to navigate this life of ours, which can be extremely difficult. And the thing is, if you've never felt this way before, and if this has never been a thing for you, when someone may bring it up or suggest it or admit to feeling this way, it can be terribly overwhelming, because I have no idea. Don't think like that. What are you doing? You've got every reason to live. It'll get better. It's just a phase. Just don't think about it. No, it's not how we connect as humans. So I want to be emotionally mature. This is what this is, because emotional immaturity is generational, which is unable to speak about really sensitive, delicate, hardcore topics. I want to be mature with you, to sit with you, to sit in this pain, not to blow you off or dismiss you. So yeah, I do really enjoy that saying that suicide doesn't take the pain away. It passes it on to someone else. But I do understand what it's like for someone who does complete suicide. Well, I can't say that, but the pain and the turmoil, the hopelessness, the way that your brain shuts down, so the cognitive, everything that happens. And especially there's always, or especially recently, a lot in the media with public figures that choose that option, that leaving behind family and friends, and then everyone else has to figure out how to move forward without them. And then there is a large majority of us who have been touched in some way by someone who has taken their own life, or perhaps even considered it as an option. And even mothers that go through postnatal depression, one of the really common phrases that I hear from mums is, sometimes all I want when I'm driving the car is just to veer off and maybe just see what happens, veer off the side of the road. When someone is under so much emotional turmoil and stress, the pain of being in your own skin can be unbearable. The unresolved small traumas that we experience, whether they be small traumas, can be like a whole lot of paper cuts, or obviously huge traumas that I don't feel like I can ever heal from. And obviously our brain, as a coping mechanism, can trick us into believing that there is no future, that there is no hope, that it is literally unable to see anything into the future, and sometimes everything looks dull and grey. If we haven't learnt coping mechanisms to manage depression or anxiety, everything can seem to just pile up internally, especially if I don't have the words to articulate what that actually feels like. It can also then in the beginning phases lead to like psychological burnout and fatigue. So think about this for a moment. Traditionally, Men have been conditioned in our Australian society to suck it up, man up, spoon of concrete, don't whinge, okay? Which means that men, a lot of the time, it's not safe, or I haven't even learnt that it's acceptable to be vulnerable and talk about uncomfortable emotions. This goes hand in hand with that toxic positivity. Just think positive, one foot in front of the other. She'll be right. Don't worry about it. It will all work out. Everything happens for a reason, okay? All of these messages then teach us that anything other than positivity or happiness is uncomfortable or an inconvenience. And I don't want to feel like an inconvenience or a burden. I don't want to burden other people with all of this, you know? When someone is choosing to be vulnerable and open up about their pain or their struggles, it can be really, really difficult to hear, to just sit in it. So sometimes all we actually want to do is to fix it. We go into like solution mode. Don't worry about it. Maybe try this. Go do that. We'll go, you know. The trifecta to this is minimizing our own experience and our own feelings. It's really interesting how common this is. Other people have it worse than I do. Why am I so ungrateful and complaining? All the time. I hear it all the time. So when we look into this, some of the warning signs can be when they feel like they're always a burden. They feel like I'm broken. I can't be bothered anymore. I just don't want to. I didn't hop out of bed for the past week. I didn't have a shower, you know? And what's the point? Feeling surrounded in so much guilt and shame within themselves. So these can lead to feelings of unbearable pain and sadness. Sometimes then it can increase anxiety and anger or irritability towards others. So men have testosterone, and when testosterone gets frustrated, it gets angry. Okay, so sometimes depending on our own levels of testosterone, how we've learnt anger, instead of being upset, we actually present as angry, irritated, frustration, really like quick, you know? Yeah. Sometimes we then, when they have this anger, we think we've done something wrong, or we try and avoid them. But really, I'm just angry within myself. I'm angry at myself that I can't fix this. I'm angry at myself that I'm trapped. I'm so angry that nothing can ever change, and I feel like this is my reality forever. So sometimes when people do make the decision to take their own life, they actually feel a sense of peace and relief and at ease. So when we assume they magically get better and they're happy again, but really, they then start to give away all of their special possessions or even arrange a will. And you're like, why would you sell your car? That's the most important thing to you. Oh, but you know, I don't need it. I don't know. These are all little red flags, you know. So when the warning signs are there, we can get very overwhelmed because we don't know what to do. Or sometimes because we are unable to know what to do to help. Oh, it's all fixed, it's all solved, I don't have to be there anymore, everything's going to be okay, you know? We are all humans, we're all a social species, and we all need to feel the connection with others. It can be so agonizing to sit with a loved one in so much pain because we actually feel powerless to help to take that pain away. So if you can, understanding how to regulate yourself, learning more about what it's like for someone to feel this way if they genuinely consider this as an option. Be brave and ask them directly. Don't sugarcoat it, don't dance around it. Ask directly. Have you been thinking of suicide lately? Have you been thinking about not existing? Okay? If they're going to feel that way, they're going to tell you sometimes, you know? Because you saying that, you're not actually, a lot of people have the fear that if I say it and I mention it, maybe I'm the one that's going to plant the seed that they may probably not hadn't have thought of it until I mentioned it. That's incorrect. That's not real, and that's obsolete thinking. if you say it and mention it, it brings a connection together. You're not actually making things worse. Okay? So say it, ask it, invite a conversation. It's really, really important. Sitting with them in their pain if they decide to speak with you. Sitting patiently and listening, as opposed to that immediately giving them suggestions on how to fix it to make it go away. Be honest. If for you are overwhelmed and I don't know what to say to help, say it. This is very overwhelming. I've never heard anyone like this. I don't want you to go away, but I just want you to know I'm a bit overwhelmed. And they'll go, thanks for being vulnerable. This is me being vulnerable now too. Okay? Let them know. And then maybe they have suggestions on what they need themselves from you. Amazing, right? This is this beautiful communication. Being honest, transparent, and vulnerable with each other. If you're not ready at the moment, just know that I'm always here to speak with you, because I don't know what to say to make it better, but I don't want you to feel alone. Always know that this is always on the table for us. Do you want me to talk about it anymore, or do you want me to leave it? And then if you want to bring it up, bring it up. Encourage them, obviously, to speak to a counsellor they trust, and it can be very, very hard to find the right fit. So not giving up as well. Because if they've already seen someone but they didn't like them, sometimes they're like, well, this is too hard. I'll just deal with it on my own. Don't give up. Everyone has their perfect person to speak to, okay? Find someone else who can support you emotionally. Obviously, as I said before, I do have a lived experience with wanting to end my own life, okay? Several of my friends chose to end it all as well. And then understanding the years and years of volunteering with Lifeline, and it's so important. Call them, connect with them. We are all in this together. We need to inspire and empower each other. Learning about the cycle of anxiety and how to stop our inner saboteur. Educating about happiness and purpose. I've spoken to this before a lot, actually, about the principles of happiness and the 5 pillars with positive psychology. Tricking your brain into being happy. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, okay? Resolving all your past traumas that may be re-triggering. One of the most efficient, authentic ways to resolve trauma is with EMDR. EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. I do it, it changes the lives, and it genuinely heals trauma. Because sometimes just talking, like talk therapy, doesn't actually remove the pain. You need to do it from the way that your brain processes. EMDR, okay? We all get one life. We may die once, but we live every day. Make your life something special to you. Make it for you and your own purpose. Find beauty in the small things. Feel grateful for those who support people in our life. Help others and make them feel special. This is how we can all feel connected like a community. This is why we are mentally strong mums. We need this mindset together, to be there together and to pump each other up. When people keep falling in the water, we have to not keep on dragging them out. We have to understand why they keep falling in. Find more pleasure in your life. Humans are built for pleasure. For where am I getting my pleasure from, and how can I get more of it? Okay? Don't give up on yourself. I believe in you. And I believe that your children need you as well. And if your children are going through this, they need you. But we need to have that emotional maturity to sit with each other in each other's pain. Okay? So obviously, this was a really quick overview. There are a lot of resources. Black Dog Institute, Lifeline, all of these amazing, lovely mental health places. And for mums, you've got Panda, you've got Peachtree Perinatal Wellness. Don't feel alone. There is so much out there. We just need to look. Even if you just want to have a look on Instagram, heaps. Have a look at my page, Mentally Strong Mums. I've got a lot of different resources on there as well as my supportive therapy page and my supportive therapy website. Please don't give up. There is heaps out there. Don't feel alone. Don't avoid it. Be emotionally mature and connected together as a family. If this obviously is upsetting for you or triggering, find how to look after yourself. Have a debrief with someone. Call Lifeline. Call Panda. Call Relationships Australia. Don't feel alone. Book a session with someone. Talk to your best friend. Be vulnerable. Reach out and open up. If you are triggered, acknowledge that. Understand why you're triggered. And then do something about it to help yourself. If all of this you've kind of realised that this reminds you of someone, reach out to them. Okay? Everything's going to be okay. We all just have to stick together and work together to find solutions. I want to be your mindset coach in all of this to get you mentally strong. Okay? So maybe down the track we might elaborate on it further, but this is just me trying to touch base with it because I want to make it a conversation and I want to normalize it and I want to keep it out of the shadows. Alright? You have any questions, any stories, anything you need, please contact me. So on my Facebook or my Instagram, Mentally Strong Mums, or even on this podcast. Alright? Look after yourself, Mum. You know I love you. I think you're very, very special and you're doing the best that you can. But by listening to this as well, you're growing yourself in the most amazing ways. Thank you for your time. Love you, Mum. Bye. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire podcast, and for that, I would like to thank you for your support. So you can find me on Instagram or Facebook at supportivetherapy_, and then you can find heaps of free resources online at www.supportivetherapy.com.au. So if today you did find my information useful, please leave a review and subscribe. By leaving a review, it's a value exchange. It's good karma. So I value your support just as much as you value my free information. And if you liked it, other mums can like it as well, hopefully, and then it can hopefully start a huge movement of people valuing mothers the way that they need to be valued. So please feel free to let me know what topics you would like to see in future episodes. Always feel free to get in touch with me in the comments. Otherwise, follow me on Supportive Therapy social media networks. Thank you so much for your time and have a wonderful day, you beautiful mum.